Amsterdam is known worldwide for its liberal views and tolerant attitude. It is a city rich in culture with numerous museums, housing artworks from famous countrymen and artists from around the globe. More famous, however, are its two biggest tourist attractions. The red light district, home of the world's oldest profession, has been around since the 14th century. Over the years, the church pressured the government to illegalize prostitution, and it eventually was. However, the business still thrived. As the girl stayed out of trouble, the authorities turned a blind eye. In the 18th century, Napoleon ordered prostitutes to have health checks twice weekly, so his soldiers wouldn't get sick. Regular health checks are still an important practice today. It was again made illegal in the 20s, but the authorities still found it impossible to control and so tolerated it behind closed doors. Prostitutes would peek round curtains behind tiny closed windows to advertise themselves. With the sexual revolution of the 60s, the windows grew larger until the booths that are used today were installed. Prostitutes can rent a booth for 150 euros a night, and whatever profit they make is theirs. This was a way to try and protect women from being forced into this work by pimps and drug dealers. It is now a fully legal trade with some 150 booths in operation. Amsterdam's coffee shops started appearing in the early 70s. The first owners had a hard time of it, being arrested on a regular basis. This didn't stop hundreds of more opening up until there were over 700. Realizing the war on weed was lost, the government decided to regulate the soft drug and focus on fighting the pushers of hard drugs. With constant pressure from neighboring countries, it was decided that they needed to be more controlled. The number of coffee shops was halved and those remaining were given a special license. Coffee shops currently reside in a legal limbo. Growing more than 5 plants is illegal, as is having more than 500 grams on site. This means that coffee shops have to either grow illegally or get stock from illegal growers. On busy days, the stock might need replenishing several times, putting the supply in more danger of being arrested. On top of this, the last two governments have been very conservative and have kept an extremely close eye, making sure coffee shops abide to the strict regulations and closing those that show the slightest discrepancy. Due to the nature of licenses, they cannot be transferred to other shops or people, meaning the number of coffee shops will decrease over time. Why have these two trades been able to flourish when they're so restricted elsewhere? It is all down to the Dutch philosophy of tolerance and regulation, rather than outright prohibition. This dates back to the 16th century. Whilst much of Europe was engaged in religious wars, the Netherlands instated freedom of religion. This led to thousands of people from different cultures flocking to Amsterdam, seeking refuge. With so many free-thinking people from different backgrounds, the arts flourished, producing artists such as Rembrandt and playing an important part in the Renaissance. The 17th century was a golden age for Amsterdam, when it was the most important port in the world and the international centre of banking. Today its importance as a port may be less, but it is still the centre of the arts. Amsterdam now hosts 180 galleries, more than any other European city, as well as numerous museums and countless entertainment venues. Amsterdam's heritage is in jeopardy of change, with other countries led by America and the EU still pressuring the Netherlands to rethink their views. It is only because of the EU's policy on marijuana that it is not fully legal in the Netherlands. Unfortunately, the new Dutch government seems to agree, and have been trying to bring in new rules such as only Dutch people being allowed to buy weed, or closing all the coffee shops within 300 yards of a school. In July, a smoking ban may be put in place, with possibly devastating effects for coffee shops. It seems strange that these people are so intent on changing the Dutch laws when you consider the facts. Dutch citizens have fewer problems with drug use, drug-related crime and health problems than the US, and many other countries that have stricter laws. They have the lowest drug-related death rate in Europe, and spend less money having to fight criminal behavior than most other countries. If they do succeed in changing the Netherlands' drug policy, surely they will then only move to the red light district. Then what? Getting rid of the rainbow flags used to identify gay bars and shops? They will strip everything that makes Amsterdam so unique. The Netherlands is a country 400 years ahead of its time. In a world where religious wars are still fought and people are judged so easily by race or views, maybe it's time these other countries try to sort themselves out, rather than trying to force their regulations on a country that is doing better without them.